Okay.
Blow a kiss.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. at Euston station in London, and I'm about to head off on my sail and rail journey to Dublin in Ireland. And to get there, we're taking 2 trains, 1 ferry and 1 bus, and we're going to pass through 3 countries. So we're going through England, Wales and Ireland, and we should arrive at 6:30 p.m. this evening.
I guess I knew this would happen to you. Inside I did, but I refused to know the truth.
Okay, so the first train we're getting is taking us to Crewe, and then we're going to change trains there and carry on to Holyhead port, where we'll get on the ferry to Dublin port, where we'll catch a bus which will take us to the city centre. Also, I used to get this train up to university in Manchester like multiple times a year, so it's going to feel quite nostalgic for me, I think.
Baby, I've been there before. I was at the point where all I really wanted was someone, and I'm still hanging on. I was at the end of every tether, waiting for what once.
Okay, so we just arrived at Crewe station, and Crewe is a major railway junction in the UK because apparently it's a kind of gateway to the northwest of England. And apparently the railway station is so significant to the town that the local football club is nicknamed the Railwaymen. So we've got half an hour to change trains, so plenty of time to get to the next platform.
Baby, I've been there before. I was at the point where all I really wanted was.
We also saw some people who brought their bikes on the previous train, which I thought was pretty cool because in theory you could take your bike all the way from London to Dublin and then just have loads of freedom when you were there. And you just can't do that when you fly, which I thought was another plus. We haven't done that, but I'll be thinking about doing that next time. Also, apologies to anyone who's Welsh because I just realised that it's pronounced Holyhead, not Holyhead, which I had been saying to the camera and also to some people who work at the station, which is kind of embarrassing. So we've just passed this abandoned ship, which I found out was originally a passenger ferry and cruise ship which took people as far as Norway and Spain. But in the late 70s it was removed from service and bought by a company who turned it into a bar and arcade, and it became known as the Fun Ship. But unfortunately it was closed in 2004 because of disputes with the council. And then there were plans to paint the exterior of the ship and turn it into the largest outdoor gallery in the UK. And in 2012 a Latvian artist actually painted the outside of the ship, but then it was painted black in 2017, I think because of the council. And now I'm not sure what's happening with it. We're at Holyhead in Wales now, and we've got just over an hour until our ferry, but I think that's because they need to check our IDs, our COVID vaccination passes, and our passenger locator forms, which is basically a form that you need to fill in now when you're travelling from the UK to Ireland because of the pandemic. We just need to figure out where to go. we've made it onto the ferry now, and the views from here are incredible. You've got the Welsh coastline here, a giant drop to the sea there, and Dublin's that way. I don't think you can see it yet, but it's all very exciting. You can get to Dublin from London without flying via a different route, and you basically go from London Paddington to Fishguard in Wales and then catch a ferry from there to Rosslare in Ireland, and then you get a train from there to Dublin. And it costs the same as the route we're taking, which was about £50, but it does take longer, although there's one less connection. So we're at our Airbnb now, and I'm just getting ready for dinner, so I thought I'd chat to you while I put my face on. I really enjoyed that journey. The views were incredible. At one point we literally had the Snowdonia Mountains on our right and the Welsh seaside to our left, so we really got a lot out of it, and we passed so many interesting things like that abandoned ship I told you about, and Conway Castle. At the beginning of the day we did think that having all those changes was going to be quite annoying, but in the end it really didn't bother us because of all the other stuff that you got with the journey, like the beautiful views, etc., and you know, all the freedom you had to move around as you travel. And although that route does take longer to take the train and the ferry than to fly, it's not that much longer when you consider how much time it takes to get to the airport and to get to the city centre once you arrive in Dublin, and all the time it takes to go through security and stuff. Also, when we checked how much the flights were going to be for the same time that we were travelling, they were actually more expensive. So it would have cost £110 return to fly, and it cost us £94, or just over £94 return to get the train and the ferry, which was all included. A lot of people just assume that flying is going to be cheaper than getting the train every single time, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. So it's always worth checking if you are going on holiday to see how the two compare in terms of time and cost. Also, to be honest, even if I was flying, I would always consider the travel day to be a bit of a write-off, you know? Even if you do get to wake up a bit later and arrive a little bit earlier, you're still basically going to get to your destination if you're travelling in the middle of the day. For the majority of the day, you're just going to get there in time to get ready and go for dinner, basically. So it's not that much difference when you consider that. And then when you consider all the benefits you get, like the beautiful views and the kind of freedom of using Wi-Fi and being able to charge everything, and of course how much better it is for the environment to take the train, it just seems like the much more appealing option. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the journey, please do put them below and I will get back to you. I'll also include details of exactly how much everything cost and where we bought our tickets and stuff in the description box below. But otherwise, I will see you soon.